Hey. Oh. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How we doing? How we doing today, brothers? We gather here today to represent the people who know what the bat. Content. We got to get content out, bro. Yo, we got to get content. Got to make sure we are doing good with the content that is coming out, bro. Yo. People saying to me, RDR smokes fluffy, smoking that fluffy pack. No. RDR does not smoke fluffy. Fluffy is not getting smoked by RDR out of all people, because let's be honest, that was not prime Robert Whittaker. We destroyed prime Robert Whittaker. We stole the prime away from Robert Whittaker, and that's the life that we have to accept. RDR is not in his prime. I'm gonna ban you, bro. I'm gonna ban you. Like, why would you say that? You're watching mommy ASMR. Like, do you not think about what you type before you type it? What is this supposed to mean, bro? Like, I was having a good day. Why'd you gotta hit me with that's what you were doing? Now gotta... Do you know how much of a verge you gotta be? Do you know how much of a acting like you've never? Yeah. I know you're good. You think that's a regular thing that people do? Yeah, nobody does that, bro. If you think anybody does that, or be like, bro, my friends do it, bro. Bro, my friends do it. It's like, aye, bro. Nobody does that. Super Dag, what's up? How do you guys see Jake Paul? Let's get a poll going, actually. Who wins? Jake Paul or Gervonta Tank Davis? I almost said Tank Davis. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. That's a great fight. I love that fight. This is Degs Downey's bullying their chromosomes, building their chromosome like mega blocks. We kind of do. Dude, what's most people are going Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul wins. Dude, okay, I gotta be straight up. What is the best fight on the China card? Is it Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang? Is it Brian Ortega versus where are you from originally? Ukraine. No. Canada, bruh. Type shit. UFC China. I kind of think Loner Kavanaugh, he's on the card, right? Who is he fighting? He's fighting Charles Johnson. I think that's the best fight of the card. Then we also have, I think Kevin Boras, that's a banger, versus Samir Daji. Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I'm kind of looking for that. I'm South African. I'm not from Israel, bro. What's your thoughts on some critics hating on Hamza, calling him a boring fighter, but the truth is it was a dominant fight? Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit more nuance to the fight. You know, I hate to be the guy that keeps on bringing up nuance, but at the end of the day, there's a couple things that can be right, and we can accept that. Was it not that, action-packed of a fight? It was not an action-packed fight. Was it dominant for Hamzat? Yes. Was it Hamzat's fault that it wasn't exciting? No. Was it DDP's fault that it wasn't exciting? Yes. Is Hamzat a boring fighter? No. Was he involved in a boring fight? Yes. Those things can be true. All those things can be true. You don't have to be like, it was dominant and it was entertaining, and you don't have to say it wasn't entertaining and it wasn't dominant. You know what I mean? So dominant is not directly correlated with entertainment. It's just not true. Chimaev showed levels. Chimaev showed that DDP compared to Chimaev, DDP's like a high schooler practically, and Chimaev's a man. $12 takedowns, 529 strikes, 5 crucifix, 22 minutes control time. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't dominant. You gave me stats that show me it was dominance. I know it was dominance. But you cannot give me stats and tell me that it was an entertaining fight. It was a lackluster fight, but it was a lackluster performance on the side of Jurgis, so it is what it is. So it is what it is. I'm genuinely the only one who found it entertaining jumping down. I mean, it wasn't, the fight wasn't entertaining, Hackle. You found enjoyment in Jurikis losing, but that does not equate to entertainment. It's just not. It was entertaining. It was entertaining, was loyal fans, but for casual fans, it was boring. I mean, that's just not true. I don't believe so. What do you think? What's next for him? Whoever has a better performance between the four up and comers, between RDR, Fluffy, Kaio, and Amavov. Between all those four guys, whoever has the most exciting performance, whoever kind of stamps that puts a seal on the thing, I think they're gonna get the next shot, and I think that's gonna be Cal Barajo, and I think that's his hardest test. Like I want Cal Barajo to never get a title shot because I know Cal Barajo has a real chance of not beating, but catching Chimaev. Having a good enough game plan to cause difficulties for Chimaev. I think it's the hardest fight in the division. But just because you can't say it was like, what was entertaining about Chimaev sitting in a crucifix? There was nothing entertaining inherently about that. The only thing that was entertaining was the shock value of finding how far in levels of technical ability Drickus and Hamzat were. That's the only entertainment you can find from that, and that can only sustain for that long. You know what I mean? It's like, would you rather watch Chimaev versus Burns or Chimaev versus Drickus? If you had to choose which fight you would watch, if you had to choose one fight to watch for the rest of your life, Chimaev Burns, Chimaev Drickus, which one are you picking? I feel like that's a pretty obvious answer. It was DDP's fault. I know. I never said it wasn't DDP's fault. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it was DDP's fault that it was a lackluster performance. It wasn't action packed. Why? Because DDP just wanted to make it a fight where he survived. DDP was only trying to survive the entire time. I'm not disagreeing with you, but to say that it was entertaining, I think it's just. I think it's. I think you're trying to. I think you're trying to. Kind of, I think it's a defensive response. To say it was entertaining is kind of defensive, to defend like the caucus guys and being like, dude, they're fun to watch. But it's like, you can call a fight boring and still say Hamzat is one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC. Like, just because he has one lackluster performance because his opponent wasn't. If it was Chimaev versus Oliveira, of course that'd be entertaining because Oliveira's on the front foot the entire time and he's not just gonna accept a position. I found it entertaining, to be honest. It was like Silva's son in one that made it, and that made it to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but why did it make it to the Hall of Fame? Let's check the stats on that. Silva vs Chael 1. What were the stats? Significant strikes. On the ground. How many takedowns? How many control time did he have? He had 20 minutes control time? Holy shit. It was entertaining? Okay. I don't know. But just coping by saying if people found it unentertaining, they're wrong. They're just a casual if you found it unentertaining. I don't think that's being truthful. It was boring maybe because DDP didn't try to scramble himself out of position, was banging on Chimaev, getting tired the whole time. Yeah, I know. That's literally what I said. It is DDP's fault. Like, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you. It is DDP's fault. But it was also a boring fight. Two can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. You wanted Hamza to drop them elbows from the crucifix, but DDP wanted to blow Raz. Hi, bro. Uncle Iver's Alex prediction. I'm going Uncle Ive KO in the first 2 rounds. I mean, look what Alex Pereira is doing. What is Alex Pereira doing? This guy's on movie sets. He's doing movies. Alex Pereira's doing movies. He's going to concerts, going to Drake concerts. He's going on yachts. He's partying. He's traveling the world. He's doing live streams with Nina Drama. You're never going to see Uncle Live doing a live stream with Nina Drama. Do you know why? Because he's busy training. He's busy training. And when he's not training, he's recovering. He's relaxing. He's not going with this fat ass coach on a Nina Drama live stream. So there's levels to this. So I think Uncle Live's probably going to KO Alex. I think he's going to take him down this time. He's either going to I think he's going to dominate him for the first round, and then the second round I think he's going to beat the living brakes off the lad, yeah? Know that. Uncle Live, DDP clung on to Hamza for dear life. Yeah, clung on to Hamza for dear life, mate. I'll be wrestling me balls off your face, yeah? Know that. Joey was implying that people think the fight was boring because Hamzat is Muslim, as if Merab vs. Umar and Bilal vs. JDM weren't entertaining. Was he comparing Bilal vs. JDM to Shamaev DDP and Merab vs. Umar to Hamzat DDP? I mean, bro, stop it. Those fights were close. Those fights were back and forth. Yes, the winner was clear, but they were back and forth. They weren't like just showing levels the entire time. But that's Joey though. But Joey's just that guy to make everything about religion, because it's kind of the niche he's created is like a religious niche where he's kind of just like a Muslim boy toy. I don't want to say that, but he's a mouthpiece for Muslim UFC fans world round. For not even Muslims, but for like a certain look and style. He's a mouthpiece for them, and a certain idea, you know? Like I imagine Joey is probably mad that Bryce Mitchell was holding on to Saeed Nurmagomedov. He was probably really, really mad at Bryce for holding on to Saeed. I'm a huge Hamza fan, but I'll admit the fight was boring. Yeah, it was a pretty lackluster fight. Umar made the fight entertaining. Yep. If I dip, I've just fallen asleep. Yeah, because Chael Sonnen was steroid juiced up, that's why. Yeah. John Dong, there's an underlying hate that clouds people's judgment. Literal more complicated than just that, but Joey's kind of right. Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, most UFC fans are very, how do I say this? Like, they're very, this is my people, these are my fighters, those are your fighters, you know? So if you like Khabib, if you like Islam, you probably dislike Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, you probably dislike these fighters, you know? That's another fight, Colby versus Masvidal. Similar, fairly entertained, like it was a similar fight, but nobody was sitting on Colby for being boring, you know what I mean? Like, Masvidal put up a little bit more of a fight than DDP, but like at the end of the day, people weren't complaining about that being unentertaining. Got Hamza by KO this time? Versus who? Maybe there are plenty of non-Muslims fighters that are considered boring, like Bautista, Strickland, Aljo, etc. Yeah. I think this is a case. I think the Hamzat versus DDP fight, when people say it's boring, you can be like, you know what? Sure. Whether you're a hardcore fan or a casual fan, you can say that DDP versus Hamzat was fairly boring, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. But if you say like Aljo versus Movsar was boring, I'd be like, was it? Was it boring? I found that entertaining. You mean Uncle Live? Yeah. I think so too. I think Uncle Live's probably gonna KO Alex. Alex isn't in the game. I mean, this guy's almost 40 years old. He's just not driven. I mean, he's made money. His goal was to make money and get out the freaking tire shop. He's out of the tire shop, and now he's with celebrities. He's traveling the world. He's going to UFC events. You don't see Uncle Live doing that. It is what it is. Those who call boring just left MMA and see WWE. No, that's just not true. You can call it. What is with? Why can you not call a fight boring if you found it boring? If a fight is slow and uninteresting, why do we have to say something as like a rebuttal? Why can't we just be like, sure, you feel that way? That's cool. Why can't you just accept that someone believes that? You know what I mean? We just gotta accept that someone believes a fight was boring. You could, if I'd be like, if there was a striking fight, 3-round war that I saw, and someone said it was boring, I'd be like, sure, I don't care. That's your opinion, bro. I enjoyed it. Why does it matter? Why does it matter that someone has to agree with me? The fight wasn't boring though. Chimaev DDP was fairly boring. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. There's a boring fight regardless of race. And a Muslim guy will always be blamed on the Muslim. I think the bigger name will get blamed. I think the person who's bigger, the bigger star will get blamed. I think just how it is. Like if like Rob Font versus Corey Sandhagen, who was blamed for that? The bigger name in Corey Sandhagen, you know. In Aljo versus Movzar, who was blamed for that? Movzar, you know what I mean? What else is there? You know, there's Uncle Live versus Pereira, but Pereira's kind of the boy, so I guess Uncle Live took the. I guess it is the Dagestani fighters, even though I don't know. It's the white guys who hate on them, even though, I mean, let's be honest, Uncle Live, Evloev, Chimaev, these guys are white, bro. They're Team Us. These guys are white guys, bro. White guys are literally running the UFC. How many non-white champions are there? 1. And Zhang Weili, but she don't count because she's a woman. He was comparing Hamzat's fights or Bilal's and Numar's, but saying that there was a common ground. People saying Ankh versus Pereira and Hamza DDP were boring. Fights are boring. It is what it is. We don't care. We dominated. Why are we getting caught up on the? Why are we getting caught up on? Yeah, I guess the winner gets the blame. Yeah, I guess the winner gets the blame. True. That is true. That's very true. The winner does get most of the blame, for sure. None of the fighters have had a single performance that's even remotely as impressive as Chimaev's. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking impressive, if we're talking about impressive performances, I mean, Chimaev dominated him. You know what I mean? Stand up, takedown, passing guard a crucifix. That's like 3 position advance. Why would the referee get him up? DDP coach wouldn't take accountability. I mean, it is what it is. He's coping hard, but that's just what you do. You just cope hard. I mean, name a fighter who doesn't cope. I think Leon Edwards is one of the few fighters that doesn't cope. He just disappears. I mean, not Leon Edwards. Why did I say Leon Edwards? Max Holloway never copes. Max Holloway never copes. You'll never see Max Holloway cope. Nowadays it's boxing. Nowadays it's not boxing, it's entertainment. Yeah, boxing is the same thing. Like, dude, boxing can be boring. A stand-up fight can just be, dude, a stand-up fight can be just as boring or not more boring than a grappling match. So it's like, if they're gonna stand people up, if the fight's slow on the ground, if a fight's slow on the feet, why don't we just put them on the ground? Put 2 guys into like let's put one guy in another guy's guard and be like, all right, let's go. That should be. If they're willing to stand up ground fights, they should be able to put down standing fights if they're boring. You know what I mean? Like Diego Lopez versus Volk. Dude, put Volk in Diego Lopez's guard. I think that's a great idea. They should do that. Caucus has taken over. Marab, Georgia, trains in US. Ilya, trains in Spain. Islam, trains in Dagestan. I'll give you that one. Hamzat trains in Abu Dhabi. Uncle Live trains in Vegas. Dude, the caucus has taken over. No, they have. The caucus has taken over, but dude, Canada's. I think the best place to live for MMA is probably caucus, Canada, Australia, US. Those are the best, bro. Max Holloway was coping hard after Ili Topuria fight. He was not coping. He was just stating the facts. Max Holloway was just stating the facts when he was saying that he was severely compromised by the weight cut. But name a quote. Okay, quote a Max Holloway speech where he complains about fighting Ilya at a weight class below. Max Holloway has never coped. Max Holloway fans have coped. Max Holloway personally has never coped about losing to Ilya. He's never coped about losing to Ilya. So you gotta quote him. If you wanna quote Max and give me a quote, I'll believe you. But until then, no. I'm not saying that they were as dominant as Chimaev. I'm saying that I don't think people say Hamzat's fight were boring because he's Muslim. No, people weren't saying I think people were blaming Hamzat because they're salty he won. And the reasons they're salty he won could be because he's Muslim. Maybe they don't like Muslims, or maybe they're just DDP fans, or maybe they just picked DDP and they're salty. Maybe they lost a bet on DDP, but they're mad that Hamzat's fight was boring because they just no. What was I saying? Yeah, yeah. People are saying Hamzat's fight was boring, not just because he's Muslim, but that is because they beat his boy. They're salty. He won, and it was a fairly boring fight. Same with the Muslim world and fans as well. You're their favorite fighter as long as you don't fight any Muslim fighter. Interesting. If India had a fighting culture like Dagestan, we would have several champs. They're genetically handicapped. If India had a fighting culture, I don't know, bro. If India had a fighting culture, I mean, I don't think it's about fighting culture. I think it's just about some of the intangible things. I just don't know. I don't know what makes someone a good fighter or makes a certain region good at fighting. Maybe if they had a fighting culture, but I feel like if any country had like the level of fighting culture as Dagestan, they would have champions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's like a genetic thing that makes Dagestan so great. Because they have some good guys, they have some bad guys. I mean, nobody talks about the Dagestan fighters that are win-loss in PFL. You know what I mean? They only talk about the greatest ones. Just because, no one talks about Shara. Shara Bullet, Muslim Salikov, all these, these guys are from Dagestan, and they're not at the top. So is it the fighting culture that made them good? I don't know. What about Australia? Does Australia have a fighting culture? They have good champions: Volk, JDM, Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker. Right? Is it a fighting culture, or is it genetics or fighting culture? I'd probably lean on the side of fighting culture. Israel Adesanya isn't Muslim? No, he's not. The winner gets most of the blame. Pantoja's Brown, yeah. Went life and death with a wash 55er, beat off the couch, no knees. 170er, beat Whitaker, went into the fight with a broken face, destroyed DDP, but it was boring. Bro, Jake. That's a rage bait. I know that's rage bait, bro. Life and death with the 55er, just not true. Beat off the couch, no knees, 170er. You mean Kamaru Usman, who was training for Bilal? Beat Whitaker, who went into the fight with a broken face? You mean the same Whitaker that went into the fight with the exact same thing when he fought DDP and Costa and Cannonier? Jamai's terrible. Didn't he cope about Ilya? Nope. He coped by saying Ilya doesn't hit hard. I mean, Ilya probably doesn't hit hard. I mean, it is what it is. That's not cope, saying Ilya doesn't hit that hard. Like, okay, if I were to knock you out clean and you don't feel it, you want to lie? I don't understand. If you knock someone out, if someone gets knocked out, they're not going to remember how strong the punch was. I don't understand. And when Max got hit by Ilya, he was probably like, oh, this is just a regular fight. He probably wasn't thinking too much about it. But when you get clipped on the chin, you're not going to feel it. So it's not cope, bro. You're coping. You're coping on behalf of Max and Ilya. Max Holloway was coping after the Ilya? No. He said Ilya's win streak wasn't that good. Did he say that? I need specifics. I need to train specifics. Max never accepted a single Volks loss until the third. I mean, that's not cope. He was just telling the truth. The first two fights could have gone either way, especially the second one. Well, you're right. They're all trained in other countries. He also said he would beat Volk in the second fight. Oh, he said he beat Volk? Max's soy boy? Not at all, bro. Max did. I mean, arguably, he could have gone either way in that second fight. Who had more drops? It's like, yeah, Volk had the control. He had the clinch. He had the legs. It is what it is. But explain what coping means. I don't understand. Coping means you're, you have to. Coping means to deal with something. It's about dealing with something. You're coping with the fact that something happened. You're dealing with it. You're doing mental gymnastics to justify something that happened. So DDP's coach is coping about the loss to Hamzat. He's trying to mentally turn that situation into something where he can, shift the blame almost, or justify it. Can you cope with coping? Nope. Indians have low T because they don't eat beef. Beef is the best readily available protein because of creatine. Okay. I don't know. I don't think it's about. I don't know, bro. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say to that? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Freaking, yeah, Indians aren't going to make it, bro. I don't know. Indians, are they going to make it? Probably not. I mean, these guys are just so trash. The Indian fighters are just genuinely just trash. Like, how are you guys that ass at fighting? Like, I feel like at this point they should have at least had like a lucky knockout. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus. Kids in the caucus sort of brought up groom for MMA. In India, it's crickets. That's what they aim for. Underfeeding kids and poverty is a factor in India. Not being very strong to build. Yeah, Canada taking over. Yup. Am I allowed to chat in here or Magnus will cry? I don't know. How crazy are these Hamzat haters, man? I don't know. They're pretty crazy. No, I don't think they're that crazy. I think Usman's spreading fake news about his knees. Dude's been talking about how bad they were for years, but there's almost been no visible decline in stuffing takedown. I mean, but there hasn't been any visible decline in stuffing takedowns. Do you know why? Because Usman's knees were bad before he got into the UFC. His knees have been bad since he got in the UFC, and he's made more money, so he's able to, deal with them a lot better because he has the funds to do so. Bro knows a thing or two about getting knocked out. Yeah, I do. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. I've knocked out many a people in my day. Explain what coping. The Hamza haters are down bad. Excuse after excuse. Hamza no cardio. DDP wins by plot armor. Yeah, it is what it is. DDP coach prayed for Mark Goddard to save DDP. Yeah. Coping means you're trying to take the pill somehow. Yeah. What do you think about Indian fighters? Indian MMA terrible. There's 2 billion Indians and not one good fighter. Yeah. But yeah, they're pretty ass. I don't know what makes them so bad at fighting, but they are pretty bad at fighting, let's be honest. Usman's shadowboxing looks painful. That's good. He's good at fighting though. Don't matter about his shadowboxing. This is not the ultimate shadowboxing championship. This is the ultimate fighting championship, okay? We don't care about shadowboxing. Usman is good. He's washed now. I mean, he looked mid against Buckley. So I think we took his soul. I think Chimaev actually takes guys' souls, even if it's a boring fight. I think Drickus is gonna have had his soul took. No, did he? He had his soul took. And I think he's gonna lose his next fight, whoever it's against. They might set him up with like a really bad matchup. They might just. Jabli? What about Jabli, man? He's ass. Jabli isn't good? No, Jabli is bro. Although Quillin Sao killed is pretty good. But who did Jabli beat before? I don't know. Name one Indian fighter. Puja Tomar. Buckley was supposed to fight for the title and Usman shut him down. Buckley was never that good, bro. Buckley was never that good. You want more Indians in Canada? DDP was crucified. Crucify him. What does that be called when you get like, dude, you look at the Jesus story, dude. That shit is crazy, man. That shit is crazy. This guy was literally had his skin ripped off his back. Should have been DDP versus RDR next. No. RDR won in the fight, so he's good. No. Who the fuck is that? Mensur? New era. He's 9-0. He beat Aziz Khairadov who's 21-7, who's from China, but he has a Dagestan mustache. All right. And who's he beaten? He's beaten 15-2, 4-2, 2-3, 15-20, 21-3, lost to 11-9, 21-8, 21-7. See, I just don't know who these guys are. I don't trust this resume. Something sus about this resume. Like, what promotion is he fighting in? Fury FC? Okay, that's not terrible. It's not terrible. 7-3, and he beat a guy. He lost to he beat 6-0, 4-0. Okay, he's actually not that bad. Wow. Okay, interesting. Let's see. He's on the road. He beat Aziz Kadyrov on Road to UFC. I don't be watching Road to UFC. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't be watching that shit. It's just so ass. Sus question: do any of the Indian fighters ever look dense muscularity? Nah, not really. DP was crucified for Dana White's sins. Yeah. Buckley had the most overrated win streak. I know. I don't know why they pushed Buckley. I guess because they wanted to get their money's worth out of like that one highlight reel KO. Like they just wanted to milk that one highlight reel KO for like the rest of eternity. I don't mind the roast of Indian fighters. Good, we're trying to get noticed for the wrong reasons. It's all right. We were asked in cricket too initially. I know we'll make it in a few years. Well, just based on pure numbers, I mean, it's kind of an unfair advantage for Indians, is it not? I mean, an unfair advantage for everybody who's not Indian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys just have 2 billion people. Like, they're able to just do whatever they want. Like, none of these places got that many people. I don't mind the roast. Am I allowed to go to bed? I don't care. Chinese guys pad the records. Look at Ming Yang's record before UFC. Zhang lost to him? Really? Let's pull up Tapology. Do you guys think that Johnny Walker could win? I think Johnny Walker's good. I don't know why, but I think he's definitely has some potential. All right, so let's look at this guy's record before the UFC. All right, so he fought in Kung Fu Carnival Season 2 against, oh my gosh, 2-2, 8-6, 1-2, 4-0, 0-0. He was 7-5 and he was fighting a dude 0-0, and he lost to him too. All right, bro, how you losing to a debutant? Come on. Can't tolerate a cocky dude streaming Allahu Akbar like a terrorist, then destroying my fighter, so I'll always root against him and cope when he wins. Yeah. 2025 is the first time I fought so many times on a big stage, lost it all, because obviously your country is either at elite level or not. GSP was Canadian, he was a GOAT, he is. Guys, it doesn't matter who you beat on the regional scene, what you're doing now matters, true. Stats are nerds, man. Stats are for nerds. Once upon a time, Canada did take over UFC with GSP, and we're about to take over. The female division is about to be run by Canada. Jasmine Jazz Delicious, Gillian Robertson, right? And even the male stuff, dude. There's only one guy who can beat Hamzat, and that's Marc-Andre Barriot, right? GSP was actually boring. He was. Oscar lost to Alonzo, but Alonzo's good, bro. Alonzo Manyfield, if that's who you're talking about, he's good, man. He's actually really good. Like Alonzo Manyfield, but round 1 finish in 2022. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that, bro. But Alonzo Manyfield's good. Walker either wins by KO, or gets murdered by KO. Yeah, I think so. Bro, so he fought a guy who's 0-0, lost to a guy 8-3, lost to a guy who's 2-3. How you losing to a guy that's 2-3? Oh my god, bro. What is this, man? What is this, bro? These got to be like. Then he just went on a crazy win streak. I think Tyson Pedro would have pieced him up. Beat Tuco Duquios. Benderson Ribeiro. I don't know. I'm gonna have to relook at this. MMA question: which race does the most crime? Most crime? Which race? I think probably. I think F1 would probably do the most crime out of all the races for sure. F1 or NASCAR. Something seems illegal about going in circles for freaking 3 hours, bro. Um, Silver Lopez. Silver Lopez. Dude, why can I see I think John Silva has a huge error in his jiu-jitsu department. Huge hole in his jiu-jitsu department. I think if you can hold John Silva down, you can get him down. But I'm going John Silva to beat Diego Lopez by finish in the third round or second round. Piper destroyed MMA fans about saying Chimaev was boring. He was boring, bro. We gotta accept that. It was a lackluster performance. It was dominant. He showed levels. It was impressive, but at the end of the day, pretty boring, pretty lackluster, pretty unimpactful. Not a lot of action. Guy who KOs everyone in the first round versus guy who keeps getting KO'd. Dude, Johnny Walker's pretty good. It was fun. Not Board's fault. It was boring. It's boring. Okay, go watch kickboxing. No, why I wouldn't want to watch kickboxing. I don't understand. What do I want to watch? I want to watch two guys who want to win and not one guy who just wants to survive. But you guys think that I because it was boring, I have to be like, yeah. Fuck. I'm a DDP fan. If I think it's boring, bro, I'm a Hachimaya fan. It was unaction, no action. DDP was just trying to survive. It is what it is. DDP was genuinely just trying to defend, trying to defend getting choked out, which made it boring. I'm not saying Chimaev made it boring, but it was boring. It is what it is, bro. Indians are the only hope for Canada. Bro, you're hilarious. I'll go Silva, but I low-key rather have Why Lopez? Lopez is mid, bro. Diego Lopez is so overrated. How did this guy get a title shot? He's literally was pushed so hard for a title shot. Made no sense. Honestly, I hate kickboxing fights. Kevin Holland JDM was so forgettable and boring. It was all kickboxing. Yeah, no one's saying. I'm not saying grappling is inherently boring, but boring fights are inherently boring. Whether it's a stand-up fight, whether it's a ground fight, fights can be boring. And like Volk versus Diego Lopez, it was boring. That was a stand-up fight. Diego Lopez versus Volkanovski, 5 rounds of fairly boring fight, but at the same time, it was Volkanovski just showing levels to Diego Lopez. He showed levels to Diego Lopez, but was it a boring fight? It was. It really was. DDP beat the Gracie BJJ squad, the Gracie Barra Jiu-Jitsu squad, yeah. What's wrong with surviving? Rather cling on for dear life than get strangled on TV? Yeah, if you're just in it for surviving and not winning, then get out of the sport, bro. Like, stop it. JDM's a boring fighter? No. Name one boring JDM fight. Kevin Holland? I named 2 boring JDM fights. 54% Jake Paul? Yeah, pretty interesting. I think Jake Paul's going to win too, though. JDM has no aura. Yeah, but that's just how the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Because in order to gain aura, you have to take it from somebody. You know what I mean? Or you have to have something so exceptional where you gain a bunch of aura. Like Ilya gained a little bit of aura by beating Volk, and then he gained more aura by beating Max, and then he gained more aura by beating Charles. Like he stole a bit of aura from each of those guys. You have no aura to take. Chill out. Got so much aura. JDM hits like a toy truck. JDM hits hard, man. JDM, dude, he is hard, man. JDM, bro. JDM literally beat the fuck out of Bilal, yeah. No, I know that. What are you talking about? Kevin Gastelum, Dustin Soltzfus announced. Kevin Gastelum versus Dustin Soltzfus? Are you talking about? You're not talking about Dustin as in like the Abus Magomedov victim. You're not talking about Dustin, who did Dustin beat that, like, just fought recently? I don't know. What's next for Michael Chandler? Um, adopt another kid. Yeah, probably adoption. That's the only thing left. But why would Jake win? I mean, he's like, what, has like 40 pounds on Gervonta Davis, and he's fairly skilled. Bro, Kevin Gastelum, I think he's gonna do it, dude. I think we need to do Kevin Gastelum versus Brian Battle, the battle of the weight missers. Although I did see Brian Battle did get cut. R.I.P. brother, R.I.P. JDM went to stand up with Bilal, yeah. Next for Michael Chandler. Dude, could you imagine Michael Chandler versus Benoit Saint Denis? Tell me that's not a banger. Tell me that's not a banger. Brian Battle got cut. What a shame. I mean, I'm kind of glad. Is anybody else glad that this guy kind of got cut? Like, it sucks that he got cut. Sucks he lost his job, but you missed weight 2 times, and the second time you missed weight, you were up a weight class. Like, how do you do that? Go make me a sandwich? Nah, yeah, I'll do that after the stream, bro. I know you're upstairs waiting for me. So I'll make you a sandwich. Michael Chandler versus McKinney? No. No. I think Michael Chandler wouldn't be able to fight McKinney because he'd see his sons in McKinney. Literally would see his sons in McKinney. Like, Michael Chandler looks at McKinney and is like, yeah, dude, I need you to impregnate my wife and give me kids. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, he sees his sons in McKinney. Dude, you better not be nutting all camp, bro. I need that shit. I need you to save that shit, bro. Brian Battle confirmed $1 million? Yeah, probably. Should women be allowed to drive? MMA question? MMA question here. Yeah, I don't know if that's an MMA question. But women being allowed to drive? I mean, if you wanted to relate that into MMA, should the UFC should women drive the UFC metaphorically by taking the steering wheel? Metaphorically? No. Maybe Ronda Rousey, but only if she adds like an OnlyFans division where it's like the women have to fight completely naked, bro. That'd be great. Then I would 100% buy the pay-per-view. If that was the case, I would buy pay-per-views. UFC can arrange 10 fighters like Brian Battle? Maybe, but Brian Battle, he was starting to gain some momentum, so it's pretty unfortunate. Battle ducked Ruzaboyev. Did he? Did he duck him? Battle reverting back to his fat ass form. Yeah, dude, have you guys seen the Brian Battle head kick KO? It is bad. Dude, it is a bad KO. Like one of the most crazy KOs I've seen. It's hilarious too, because he gets slumped so bad. Dude, he gets slumped bad as hell. Bro, this is Brian Battle right here. Dude, look how thick his neck is. Look, you see how many rolls this guy has? Nah, bro, look at this. What are you doing, bro? Look at this. What are you doing over here? Look at his hands all the way down, chin up in the air, looking to the left. Bro, what is this positioning? This cannot be real. Dude, what was he trying to do here? What was this? What is this position called? What is this technique called? What is this dodging technique called? Guys, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen? Dude, that is such a bad KO. Oh my gosh. Dude. Dude, the way he gets sent flying back is insane. Oh my gosh. That is rough. That is rough. Looks like a teenage Moroccan kid. Yeah. That's pretty rough, bro. didn't lose to a French dude, but lost on the scale 3 times. He'll be back. He just has to go on a win streak. Dude, he's cut. Brian Battle is cut from the UFC. He's not gonna fight in the UFC. He's not. He got cut, bro. It is what it is. That's how an Indian fighter. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We need a plan for Indian fighters. How can we get these guys to a title? Because I don't think there's a possibility for them to get a title shot. Battle will be in PFL, yeah. Heavyweight division, yeah. I would probably put Brian Battle at 205. I mean, what can you do, bro? I like how normies will go after easy meat like Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, calling it a fake fight, but it's forbidden for them to call Canelo fight or high level fights fake. Yeah, no, Jake Paul doesn't do fake fights. People talk about Jake Paul's fights being rigged or set up, and I just think these people don't understand anything about anything. I think these people are straight up NPCs. If you've ever called a Jake Paul fight fake or rigged, you're an NPC, and go get off the internet. You spend way too much time on the internet, bro. You spend too much time on Twitter. Talk about MMA. There's no space for the smell in the octagon. I personally think Jake Paul's real. Of course he's real. He's a fighter, bro. It is what it is. Is he good? Jake Paul's not good. Jake Paul, if he fought anybody at the highest level of his own weight class in his own age, he would get mopped. He would get mopped. And he knows that. He knows that there's genuinely levels to this. Like you can't just get into boxing at the age he did and find like major success. Like that's just freaking impossible. Unless you're straight up like I don't even know what you'd have to do. Losing Tommy Fury, who went life and death with the KSI. I mean, yeah, Tommy Fury, dude. If I'm Tommy Fury, I'd probably quit boxing because it's not meant for you. Start doing something else. You are not a boxer, Tommy Fury. It is what it is. Dude, did you guys know PFL is on tonight? Did you guys know PFL is on tonight? PFL Topology. Dude, PFL's on tonight. You think Canelo, Crawford, Fury's, Wilders all have fake fights? They don't have fake fights, bro. Stop. What's the upcoming one? What's the one today? What day is it? The 21st? How do I see which fights are on? Who's in it? Is it Fabian Edwards? Is he fighting today, I think? Is he fighting today? Against Dalton. Yeah, he's fighting today against Dalton Rasta. Rasta. Let's check out Dalton Rasta. He's 11-1. Aaron Jeffries, Sadibu Sai, Norbert I'm not gonna say that. Anthony Adams. Dwayne Johnson, dude, this guy beat The Rock. This guy beat Dwayne Johnson in Bellator. I didn't know Dwayne Johnson was in Bellator. God damn. Can't believe this guy lost to Johnny Iblin. That was a good fight, though. PFL Super Fights, that was a good fight. Who's else on the card? PFL World Tournament 10. Romanov, dude? Alexander Romanov? When did he get cut? How behind am I on this? Dude, when did Alexander Romanov get cut? He was okay. He was actually an okay fighter. Jake Paul sent him a fake contract? You're hilarious, bro. You blame the boomers? They made such an ecosystem where soyness and nerdies are appreciated? Yeah. Real hardcore to watch PFL? You're an MMA fan, not UFC casual B-League fan? Jake Paul will send him a fake contract? They don't have fake fights in actual boxing? No, they don't. Wilder Scott is a real fight? It is a real fight. Yeah. I think Hackle's right. Yeah, fighting a bum-ass journeyman doesn't mean it's a fake fight. It just means they're giving him a bum-ass journeyman. Like, let's keep it. Romanov get cut after a win like Bidet. Who did Romanov beat to get cut? Um, he beat Rodrigo Nascimento, who beat, and he's in PFL too. They cut him off a win over a guy who wasn't even a prospect. Like, why would they be salty that Romanov won? I don't know. Once you're cut, they never hire you back. They might hire you back, but very unlikely. Who's this guy? This guy looks good. Murad Ramazanov. Dude, this guy's my new favorite fighter. I just found my new favorite fighter. He looks 40 years old. Fighting out of Mahachkala? I mean, come on. We are fighting out of Mahachkala. 29? Yeah, this guy's not 29, bro. This guy's not 29. Who's this guy? This guy looks good. Bryce Meredith. Collegiate guy. University of Wyoming. 30. Bellator, PFL, Bellator 300. I mean, that was a huge event, guys. Bellator 300, 3 world title fights. I mean, how can you not remember Jackie Cataline versus Loran Santos? I mean, dude, remember remember watching that fight together, guys? Bellator 300, that was a huge fight. So huge. Dmitriy Hamardasenko versus Justin Montova. Y'all remember that fight, bro? What a great... Oh, dude, that was such a great fight, man. I love that shit. We have a Bellator MMA catchweight champion. Remember the catchweight championship belt at 127? Dude, that was such an amazing card. When did Nascimento got cut? I don't know, man. When I say fake fights, I mean predetermined scorecards, choreographed fights, early stoppages. Refs have been compromised. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah. I actually changed sides. I'm actually on Richard F's side. I actually disagree with Hackle. I'm back on Richard F's side. Because remember, what's his name versus Rolly Romero? Who's that guy? Who's beating Hamzat? Who's beating him? Nobody. Who's a good chance? How do you feel about Brian Battle? Stop eating fatty. That's what I got to say to him. If I were to see Brian Battle in real life, I would smack the food out of his hand. I'd say, stop eating, you fat POS. I would swear, but I'd be like, you POS. And then I'd look him in the eyes. I'd say, what are you going to do? And then as he tries to swing at me, I'd drop, I'd pull guard. And as I'm pulling guard, I'd set up a triangle and I'd get the mighty whiz bar. From guard. Like, I'd literally stun on him, for sure. Tell me how a YouTuber knocks a former UFC champion out. Maybe because he's a UFC champion and not a boxer. This guy was a wrestler. Are you talking about Tyron Woodley and Tyron Woodley? Like, because Jake Paul's 20 pounds heavier and has been training boxing, whereas Tyron Woodley, the only thing Tyron Woodley has done significant after his reign in the UFC and before his fight with Jake Paul was eating his girlfriend's coochie out on camera. That's the only thing significant T Wood has done. The reality. Oh yeah, Ozzy Diaz fraud checks Ottawa Gauthier. No, he does not, bro. Also, Scott was Wilder's future trainer, and he got trapped in the. I don't know. That was a good stoppage. He's talented though. It sucks. It does suck because I was starting to like, dude. Brian Battle was finally starting to gain momentum, and he just completely ruined it by missing weight 2 times in a row. And up a weight class? Are you serious? Up a weight class? You're losing? Up a weight class? You're missing weight? How, bro? How? He should have come in at 183. Why did he? What is he doing, bro? You don't have to believe. Do I personally think Jake Paul's fights are real? Contrary to most think, I just think he picks easy opponents. Dude, why is Richard F actually making the most sense right now? Why is Richard F. making the most sense right now? That's crazy how much sense. Oh shit, I got a dip, boys. Oh shit, I got a dip, boys. Ah shit, it's already 4:30. It's already 4:30. Oh shit. I gotta go to work, bro. I do have a video though. I do have a video that's live right now. Go watch this, boys. It's a video talking about Hamzat, Chimaev, and people like Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa are coping really bad. Thank you. It's been your boy Dagman, and I'm signing up. Poosh. I got work, bro. Peace, boys. Thank you for being here. We can see the link. Yeah, I know. I just want to make sure you guys didn't see the link. Go watch this. All right, peace. Thank you. This is your job? I wish it was my job, bro. If y'all paid me, I would stay here longer. Where are you going? I'm going to work, bro. I work 2 shifts a day. It's called Reagan